What is happening, beautiful people? Higama lam Ngosiphile, and welcome to another episode of Writings on the Wall podcast. Today I've got my co-host guest. Are you a co-host at this point? Are you a co-host at this point? Co-host guest Adrian. Man, that needs no introduction. He's been here twice already.
I have. Yeah. Dope chats.
Dope chats.
Yeah.
We pushed a 2-hour episode the last time.
Hey, dog. In that room. in that hot room,
When
it was dope.
When everything was still finicky. Nah, bro, welcome back. Actually, let's give. Which one is this one now? Welcome to another episode. We are back.
Yeah.
So today, man, I want to keep it. I want us to have just a bit of chat. Keep it nice and light. We've been discussing two possible topics: disability and mental health. But I think we can have those chats at a later time, or even just touch on them briefly. Today, I want us to talk about something that is burning.
It's hot.
Yeah, no. And it's off topic in a bit, but yeah, do you want to introduce the thing?
No, you do. You
The
already
issue.
started really well.
Okay, so a couple of days ago, right?
Yeah.
There's a screenshot that comes across to our attention, and it's a screenshot about is it the CEO of Spotify?
CEO of Spotify, Daniel Ek.
Yes.
Yeah.
He posted something about content creation and the cost of content creation. Well, he says the cost of content creation is nowadays is close to zero, right? And then he then continues to speak about the issue that is happening with regards to what's out there and music or content not being as timeless. And I think he was just challenging the narrative of how do you stand out in a time and an environment where everyone is popping, out of nowhere. I mean, back in the days when people were making music, it wasn't a lot of music. It wasn't a lot of people that had access to studios. So you had to pay a lot of cash just to make a song.
Just to get into that environment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so because of that, a lot of terrible music and artists were able to be kind of chucked out of the, but now everyone has access to a laptop. They can just download these things or buy the software quick, get a mic, headphones, and they record and put this thing up on Spotify or on Apple Music or any, what's that thing called? DSPs.
DSP, yeah.
I think he was just trying to challenge, like, how do you stand out in that kind of, do you want to read what the thing says?
Yeah. So I've got it here. Daniel Ek. This looks like it's on X, right? Yeah, it was on X. Yeah.
Okay.
I think so. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Uh-huh.
Today, with the cost of creating content being close to zero, people can share an incredible amount of content. This has sparked my curiosity about the concept of long shelf life versus short shelf life. While much of what we see and hear quickly becomes obsolete, there are timeless ideas or even pieces of music that can remain relevant for decades or even centuries. For example, we're witnessing a resurgence of Stoicism, with many of Marcus Aurelius's insights still resonating thousands of years later. This makes me wonder, what are the most unintuitive yet enduring ideas that aren't frequently discussed today but might have a long shelf life? Also, what are we creating now that will still be valued and discussed hundreds or thousands of years from today? Yeah.
So I see that, right? I think I hadn't read what the message attached to it was. So I read that, I'm like, okay, and I kind of understood what he was saying. No, I can't. I actually understood what he was saying,
The
right?
core message behind the post.
And I didn't expect for it. So apparently so he posted it. If it's on Twitter, I don't know where it is.
Yeah.
But there were comments under the post that were actually, he received a lot of backlash for it.
Yeah.
To a point where he had to explain what was happening.
Yeah.
What is that post?
Sorry. So there's another post where he's like, obviously seeing the feedback to this one and wanted to respond. You mean this post, right?
Yes.
It's clear I was too vague in the post, including with my clumsy definition of content. I understand how it came across as very reductive, and that wasn't my intent. Just to clarify, my original point was not to devalue the time, effort, or resources involved in creating meaningful works, whether it's music, literature, or other forms of creative expression. What I was most interested in exploring was how, in this environment of constant creation, we can identify and ensure that the bold, exciting, world-changing ideas and pieces of art don't get lost in the noise. The significant drop in the cost of creation tools, microphones, laptops, and cameras, like you're saying, has led to an unprecedented explosion in the volume of what people are able to produce. Creation is only part of the equation. My focus was on exploring the staying power of the most creative, most thought-provoking ideas. That didn't come across, and that's on me.
What do you make of this, man? Before I say what this, what
It's
do you
madness,
make of this?
bruh. When I saw that post, I was like, no, man. Oh, man. I don't even. Okay, let me start from this angle.
Sure.
I'm upset that he had to. It's almost like he went back and apologized. He came in with almost this thing of, I'm sorry, I didn't explain myself well enough. When his initial message was clear, it was quite clear what he was saying. Unfortunately, the narrative around him, the narrative around Spotify and all of that obviously overshadowed anything that he could say. The fact that that information or that viewpoint came from that person who was the CEO of that thing, this was always going to be the result. They were always going to pick at the fact that Spotify pays peanuts to artists, the fact that he is probably an exploitative human being himself, that anything that he says is reductive. I don't feel that he needed to apologize for that. And yeah, the idea itself makes so much sense. Because again, we have this conversation where we're like, what he's talking about is actually it's what's happening in day-to-day life now. What is actually timeless? It was almost like he was challenging our thought process to say, what ideas do we have now in current day? And ideas, I'm swapping out the word he used, which was content.
Yeah.
Which he's saying it's literary works, music, whatever it is. What do we have now that we're gonna look back on, kind of like how we are still to this day looking at the teachings of Marcus Aurelius, and the whole concept of Stoicism and how that still reigns true. All of these many, many years later, what are we going to look back on now and say, yeah, that's the thing? But that wasn't even the discussion. That wasn't even where people went in the comments. People were like, you can't tell us that it costs nothing to make our music. I'm like, no, what do you mean?
And this is a to be honest, it's upsetting, and it's upsetting and secondly for me it's concerning, right?
Okay.
Because I think I did share my bit of my thoughts in there to say, literally in that whole paragraph, the people stopped reading before after the first comma. They didn't even wait for the full stop to come. They stopped reading at the cost of content creation is close to zero, and they were like, nah, and like you're saying, the fact that it was about who was saying this thing and what's attached to the name, and they decided to disregard everything else that was said, which it's concerning, because but I also want to speak about the first thing, which is we are living in a time. Can I please have the water? Yeah, I'm feeling it. I'm actually going to be thirsty. We're living in a time where firstly ideas they don't survive shelf life. You were singing that thing zoom,
Zoom.
Yeah. And I was speaking about Lunch Bar and Obvious and Aromat and Unbelievable, and those commercials were from years ago, like years ago. Chicken Licken with that monkey, years ago, and them, trying to talk about the addiction part of it. But and those things have stood the test of time, because if I can still think Aromat, Unbelievable or Lunch Bar, Obvious to this day, Savannah, it's dry, but you can drink it. Yeah. When I think about that commercial, I think about that guy in the bar.
Yeah, Barry Hilton.
Yeah, that's what I think about. And it goes to talk about how timeless those commercials were, and the content and the thinking behind it. But like we're obviously living in a time where ideas there was 5 minutes shelf life. We're making a lot of campaigns are backed by or are getting on the back of a TikTok challenge. music is not even lasting. It's number one for a couple of weeks, if it's lucky. After that, we've forgotten about it. So he was really trying to probe the thought process of people and content creators to say, what can we actually do, like to go back to creating timeless pieces? But people have disregarded all of that.
Yeah.
So I want us to get into that. I think that a bit later on. But I think the first thing that I want us to have a chat about is, what do you think this backlash, or him having to come back and justify, what does it tell us about the climate that we're currently living in, both as content creators and two, as people that are consuming content?
So I'll start let's start from a consumer mindset. I'll start from that side. Yeah. As a consumer, I'll speak for myself.
Sure.
When I'm scrolling through reels, right? Say I'm just sitting there and I'm just trying to have a good time. I'm scrolling. I'll see something and I now look at the video, but I look around the video. So in the group, I made that example of there was a guy who was dropping facts. Okay. He was dropping facts, but I spotted something. It was an intrusive thought, but it was very, very small. I was listening to what he was saying. And I was like, damn, the hairline. Okay, cool. But I was still listening to him. Then I was like, wait. Then I went to the comments. And as they say, the comments, they didn't disappoint. The people went in. People forgot the message completely.
Sure.
And they were going in on this person, on this person, on this person, on this person.
Because of the headline.
Yeah, because honestly, it was receded. It was a thing, right? But it wasn't important. It wasn't an important thing. So now I almost feel like I'm also sort of being trained to want to see the commentary behind the video, or I'm almost trained to, I'm taking things at face value sometimes. I have to catch myself sometimes and say, okay, but what are we actually here for?
Okay.
Am I here to pick out a piece of message, a piece of useful information from this thing? Like, what am I consuming here? And I have to catch myself from basically doom scrolling and trying to get that fix, a dopamine thing of maybe not trying to make myself feel better for having watched that video just because there's something funny in the comment section, but actually get a little bit of substance from it. Okay. So that's me from a consumer standpoint. From a producer or a content creator standpoint, it's made the landscape so tricky to navigate. Okay. I don't know if something that I'm saying is going to be picked up on, or a nervous tick that I might have if I'm ever doing this. Now I'm dropping bars, but in the comment section they're like, "Hey man, then the guy needs to put some powder on his eye or something." So that's sort of where we are. So we're getting lost in the wrong stuff, and it's not fun, bruh. It's not fun. Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think is causing that? Like, why are we so fixated on the non-important stuff? Because like you're saying, you're watching a video of a guy and he's dropping gems, but obviously the hairline seems to be the most important thing in the video. And I mean, yes, it's a video, so the visuals are important, but like, why are we so consumed by that thing, that hairline or that tick, as opposed to what the content is actually trying to push?
Sure, dude. I don't know. Maybe you have a point, but I'm thinking maybe it could be attention span. I believe there's fundamentally a massive issue with the way we're consuming social media. So attention spans and just the stuff that we're focusing on, it's not. I don't know. It's not correct. It's not. We're not focusing on the right stuff. And then that's what's leading us down this thing of focusing on all the incorrect things. Yeah.
My concern. I had an episode. I think episode 9. You see now, we were like, "Is that eye? Do something for that eye, my brother.
You want some eye drops?"
There was an episode that I made in, I think, episode 9. That was titled "Don't Lose Yourself." I keep confusing the two: "Don't Lose Yourself" and "Don't Give Up." I don't know which one it was, but it was the "Don't Lose Yourself" one, right? And I was talking about don't lose yourself in the crowd, or don't lose yourself for the crowd, right? And the reason I made that episode is because my main concern when I was looking around is we have become sheeps. We are just followers, you know. And I mean, I'm not talking about the fact that Instagram there's followers, TikTok followers, whatever, like, but we have really just become followers where we follow the crowd and where everybody else is going, you know. We have gotten to a place where we are glorifying following the crowd as opposed to standing out, and we are punishing everyone that is trying to stand out and, you know, be independent thinkers to an extent. And so I think what's happening now, for example, I think the headline thing, I'm sure somebody noticed, but it took one person to post the comment, and once it was out, the person said, oh snap, so I can go there. And then they start going, because I mean, as humans, we always want to push boundaries. So they're like, oh, I can to say this and not get as much backlash, and then it just becomes that topic. And so when you tune in, like if you went to the comments to actually find if someone is engaging on what this guy is talking about, and you get there and everyone is talking about the headline, subconsciously you're like, if I then post about the gem he mentioned at 30 seconds, I won't get as much traction. And unfortunately, we're all trying to get as much traction when we are on social media as a consumer and also as a content creator. You know, content creators have gotten to the point where now we're trying to study the algorithm where, okay, so this dance push it, this if I do this dance challenge, I'm gonna get, you know, 1,000 followers. I actually had a funny story when I had Twitter.
Back
in the days.
back in the
days. There was a time, I think maybe just under 10 years ago, there was a time WhatsApp was down. Right?
Yeah, I think I remember this.
Yeah, WhatsApp is down. I post something on Twitter. I wasn't active on Twitter. I would just go on Twitter, retweet something or whatever, right? I didn't even have followers, you know, just have a couple of people. So I wasn't at Twelab.
Okay.
It was Twelab at the time.
Twelabs, yeah.
I don't know what it is now, but so I post something like, and I posted what I did. So what I did is I went on WhatsApp, and then I saw like WhatsApp wasn't working, and then, you know, I post exactly like in steps with the asterisks on the sides to say opens WhatsApp, you know, closes WhatsApp, what, all the way to the end, and then I posted. I go off Twitter, I get back, I go back and say, bruh, I had thousands of retweets, likes. I'm like, what the hell is going on? I'm like, what the hell is going on? Then I started realizing people were copying exactly what I had posted, and they were reposting it, and they were getting followers and retweets and likes and comments, like thousands, 10,000s of things. Then I came across this account that probably had over 100,000 likes on this thing or retweets, and I'm like, bro, I didn't even get 100,000 likes. Retweets on my tweet, and this is my tweet.
Yeah,
I wrote this, and so I think that just goes to show that everybody was willing to go to the point where they say, I'm gonna copy exactly what it is, repost it because he got traction, so I want to get traction. And I feel like we are slowly falling under this trap of, if everybody's going right, let me go right as well, because I will, you know, get the followers and whatnot. But we are then losing that spark or
that essence or that timelessness,
of like who you are. And I think that's what's happening. I just think we've just become followers, and we don't have, or we are slowly losing the ability to think for ourselves, which isn't really a difficult thing. To just think for yourself, have your own ideas, and his response for me is disappointing.
Preach.
You know, it's disappointing because what are you apologizing for? You know, and I think he's probably responding out of the fear of being cancelled, or, you know,
that's exactly what it is. That's exactly it. He's worried that because he said something incorrect, it's going to blow back, it's going to end up in the news, there's going to be articles written about it, people are going to retweet, the narrative is going to be forced on him even more.
Is he not then feeding the narrative by apologizing? Because if you're apologizing, then you're kind of feeding into what people are saying. You're basically saying what you guys are saying, there's some truth in it. And I do apologize for A, B, C, and D. And even in the end, it's like, the fault is on me.
I think that's a little bit of it's a bit of a script that you have to follow, especially him as a public figure. And this is his, you know, you kind of have to do that. He has to run the script that way. Come in, be humble, apologetic, say his piece, explain himself, and then very calmly go back. And you'll find that that second post didn't do even a tenth as well as the first post did, because the first post and the comments under the first post and all of that emotion that people had in the comment section driving towards that was the fire for social media, which social media, the algorithm loves. They're like, yeah, that guy made us upset, yeah. And then the second one is like, but he apologized, sort of. We don't want to hear that. That one won't get the engagement. I've seen it happen so many times where a person will say something, they'll double back on what they're saying, or they'll apologize for what they've done. People are like, no, but you might find maybe 2 or 3 comments saying, no, but we didn't want to hear that. Nah, it's fine. And then that will sort of get pushed down by the algorithm. You won't see that. And the first initial post, that becomes the story, that becomes the narrative. Now, when your gossip pages and all those other people come through to pick it up, they're not going to pick up the whole story, because the whole story doesn't sell. What sells is, dude said something controversial. How did the message appear in the group? It literally came in like that.
Yeah.
The post, look what this guy said. And it was the first part of it. And only when we questioned and when we were like, but the message was kind of clear. When a few of us did that he was like, actually, here's the rest of the message. We're like, there it is right there. He even went back and said it. So if it doesn't sell, bruh.
But now we're running the risk of back to what he's saying, and I understand that whole script thing. You know, personally, I don't believe in it. I think it's just nonsensical. I'm probably just a bit naive, but also I'll probably learn very quickly.
Just say the wrong thing, and you'll see.
I feel like I'm gonna learn very quickly because I mean, you know, doing content creation and podcasting, you kind of see it happen. But I think just from the people that I've watched, you know, and kind of like you just study, you just look at things and see how it works out. I've just found that it never works. Apologizing never works, and you're saying it as well. The initial post is always going to get the most traction. That statement that you say on stage is what's going to get the most traction. People don't really care about the apology. What it then does, I've found, or I think, is it just imprisons you even more. Because if you do apologize, then that means you have to dance within the square. The moment you step out of it, people will always have the power to then bring you in. So what do you think? Do you think it's better to continue to dance in the square, or to push the boundaries and explore what those new boundaries could bring?
So if we look at content creators, I don't know if you've seen in the past year, there's been a bit, people have been a bit more vulnerable about what content creation has done to them as a human being.
Okay.
How they've had to reevaluate what they're actually getting from this thing. Big creators have done this. There's a few people who have actually just stepped off of social media altogether. They have, in the beginning it was dope because they were dancing. In the beginning, you're not really dancing within the square. You kind of have one or two moments of virality. You know, 1 or 2 things pick up. You happen to be, you know, you tick a couple of boxes and very quickly your page blows up. You become that person. Then you get to that point where now, for you to maintain what you have or to grow at an exponential rate, you're now in the game. You now have to play that algorithmic game. You have to be there, creating the stuff, doing the things, going in. And the nature of the beast is that you kind of will always get pushed into that box because other metrics will start to dictate the way you do stuff, like money, subscribers, brand deals, all the stuff that comes along with it. So now you have to play the game, because now it's not just about you and your feelings. If social media was just a game about, you know, I want to keep true to myself forever and ever and ever, you know, it would be cool. But at some point, there are other factors that step in that change the way people do things. Money, brand deals, all that stuff, it changes and makes them focus on playing the game. And what that movement over this past year that you've seen is that people have been like, this used to be fun. I used to enjoy this. This used to bring me pleasure. I used to come up with concepts and ideas for myself or for the people who like this thing that I'm interested in. And that was the interaction I had with my core fans and all of that. And now that there's money involved and it's become a job, it's become a hassle. Now they have to pander to the algorithm, but you also have to pander to your new 100,000 subscribers who want that clickbaity, quick videos. And then you've got the brand deals and the more corporate business side of things where they also need you to make a certain amount of videos when in that video you need to talk about this sponsor. So you get dragged into the game even more. You're like, okay, cool. That sponsor can pay me more if I get more clicks. For me to get more clicks, I need to play the game even more. What does that mean? That means now I need to start with a hook. I need to speak in a certain way because this is how all YouTubers speak now. You know, you become you become this person. And a lot of those creators just pulled back. They had moments of, I can't do this anymore. I don't care about the money anymore. I've made enough cash now. The business is there. This doesn't feel good anymore. And they just break away in the most unceremonious way. They just break away from it because they are no longer within alignment with their, what can I say? They're not in alignment with
the initial goal.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking back to that Twitter scandal. Not scandal, but
your Twitter scandal.
Yeah,
your viral moment.
That was my only viral moment. But
no, it's not. You had one on TikTok.
TikTok.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah. Man forgot. I don't know how you just keep going viral, bro.
Sucks. I did.
Yeah.
I did. You see, I would have actually spoken about that. I forgot about it. Actually, let me talk about that because that's a lot more recent. Damn, what did I have to go back all the way back there?
To Twitter?
Oh, damn, I did have a viral moment on TikTok.
Yeah.
That also happened very weirdly because thanks for reminding me about that because I had posted a couple of videos before that and nothing went viral. I posted one actually that was about this blinking thing that you can blink as quick as what, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it didn't catch. Like nobody caught on. And then when I recorded that video, I was I think I was here, and I showed it to a friend of mine. It's like, yo, post this thing up on TikTok because initially I didn't post it on TikTok. So I just posted it up on WhatsApp and they were like, yo, you cannot keep this thing, put it on TikTok,
let the world see.
Let the world see. And I didn't believe in the verse because it was like a playful thing. And I do say even in the verse, like I was playing, know. And then I recorded and then I put it up on TikTok. But then when I put it up, I think I went to the Eastern Cape.
Yeah.
So I didn't have access to I didn't have Wi-Fi. So I wasn't on TikTok. Hey, bro, I get screenshots on WhatsApp. I'm like, what's going on? They're like, yo, someone from Cape Town saw this and they posted me and I'm like, whoa. This video, I'm like, I need to get data. I got data, I check. Comments, thousands of views. I think it was 50,000 views or something.
I think you told me 60K. It was high.
Yeah, it was a
when
lot.
I heard the number, I was like, nah. Yeah. I had to go check myself, and I was like, what is this?
Like, what? And it was huge. And so it then took me back. I remember in that moment, I was like, I need to make another one. That's gonna sound like this. The way I'm gonna be doing it in vernac, and I'm gonna have to keep the same energy. I have to find other challenges and stuff. And people were already suggesting, Guti, go and go to this person, do that, do this, do that. And I was like, okay, I need to. Then I found myself like, nah, bruh, because I'm terrible on social media, just in general. I was like, I don't think I can keep up with the demands that people are making. But I could have easily, and even the followers that I was able to amass were quite a bit just from that video. But I was like, I just can't keep up with this demand, and I just obviously fell off the thing.
What stopped you from doing that? Because some people do that, and they become a viral sensation. They do it 2 or 3 more times, and then eventually they get picked up by, they might get a couple of opportunities. Then they're in the game. They're in that matrix of the algorithmic matrix. They are now plugged in. And now you're the guy who makes videos about that thing, doing verses, doing whatever. And I mean, you can easily put it down to something silly. You can say I was lazy or whatever it was. But I'm sure there was something within you that said, this is not right.
Yeah. No. I mean, the laziness will be there, but I'm pretty like the drug of being viral is quite intense.
How did it feel? How does that feel? I've never gone viral before. How does it feel?
Nah, it was crazy, man. Because the Twitter one actually was just a post, but this one was me. Yeah. It was wild. It was wild. I was like, because I remember I saw it and I was like, no, man, it can't be that many likes and views. Then I saw the comments. and people were making reference, because in the verse I was speaking about being from Ekong and being Udlamini, and people were catching up on those things, and I was like, oh shucks, I saw so many comments, and I wanted to comment on every one of them, because I was like, I need to keep these people interested, you know. And I was like, okay, I need to, before they get bored, you know. So it was a lot of that. But the thing that quickly shut it down for me was, I recognized the feeling of wanting to do what they were asking me to do, and I quickly noticed that I don't want to get into a space where I'm always catering to them, because when they stop or when they make ridiculous demands and I say no, that's the end of it. So all those 100,000 people or whatever that were saying, yo, do this, do that, do that, the moment I stop or I say no or I break out of character, then all of them disappear. And I was like, I don't know if I'm ready for that crash. because, you know, because I mean, the high was nice, but I was like, I don't think I will be able to handle that crash. You know, I would rather take a longer period of time to get core fans and like people that actually know what I'm doing, that will notice and focus on what I do, like, which is make music and write songs, appreciate their craft and what I'm trying to push. And if someone engages me on that level to say, yo, listen, man, I've seen your storytelling abilities, I've seen your writing skills and whatnot, I would like to hear more of it. I've listened to all these songs and I like them because they represent who you are. We want more of it. I would have been like, nah, okay, that person is a real one. But I was like, this one, I think, is just about the video and also who it was attached to. You know, so his fans came through to listen to what I was saying, and there was something about a feature there, like someone was gonna get a feature or feature him. You know how fans are, feature this, you know, feature this person, and I was like, I wanna see, but then I saw this wasn't getting anywhere. So that's when I also kind of drew back with like open verses, because I feel like people put them out there just to promote themselves, and they know that if you, as Adrian, if you hop on my open verse, you're bringing me your fans. If another person, whatever, so they're getting their
cross-pollination.
100%. So like, I like, nah, man, I think I'll make music to my own pace. Part of it was also just being lazy and just like, I don't think I can make that many songs and this many verses, because when I stop writing in Vanag, they're gonna be like, this guy's trash, let's leave. You know. Or if I don't want to make this bouncy song, also not genre, but that theme, that bouncy, careless, whatever, I'm not good at it. I would rather much more speak about a story in terms of music, you know, creation, and that's not what they were there for. Because there were other videos that were storytelling, relationship breakup, and nobody gave two shits about it. So I was like, these people didn't even bother.
These weren't my fans to begin with.
But I want to ask you, because you're saying you've never had a viral moment, but you've been able to amass over 10K followers on Instagram. What did that take or require?
Oh man, so with Instagram, and it was the same even on Twitter, there were many people on Twitter, it's the same even on Facebook, that all of those were, I think my followers are a little bit different. My social media is filled with clients.
Okay.
And I say client, I'm being very specific. Majority of it is clients. Obviously there's friends and stuff, but majority is clients. And a client is kind of there to somewhat support sometimes, but sometimes just to check up on you. So I've never had a massively engaged following.
Okay.
It's been numbers. I don't like those numbers because very quickly I've been called out a few times. They're like, dude, you've got all these followers and stuff, and you post, and you know nothing's really happening. I'm like, these are not people. I know who they are. I don't know all 10,000. I know who these people are. These are not commenters. These are people who either have paid me money at some point to use my services, because I've worked with everybody up and coming.
That's a lot of money. But yeah,
it's those people. It is people who might want to work with, or it's cross-pollination from the fact that I've produced for some artists that are like, hey, this guy sort of he's the architect of the sound of the artist that I like. So the artist that I like, they'll go comment on there, fire emojis and all of that, you know, we dope, this track is dope. But when I post my stuff onto my page, it's kind of like, okay, cool, he's working on something. I'll be back once he gives it to that artist and the artist jumps on it and creates a full track. So for me, social media's I've had a very weird experience trying to amass people on it. Yeah, and much like you, I'm not a cloud guy. I don't come in with energy. I'm not. Hey, here's 15 tips on how to be. I'm not that guy. I don't have that stuff. So even when I did decide that now I'm going to build an actual engaged following, it wasn't for entertaining content. I'm not an
Yeah.
entertaining guy. I'm not going to do monkey dance like your people were. They were. You basically saw that people were gonna lead you down that road
Yeah.
of monkey dance, and if you don't dance, they drop you.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, I was like, I'm never gonna do that. What I can do though is I can do. Let me teach you. If you don't know, let me teach you. I might not know everything, but I'm sure there's gonna be something that I say that might resonate with you. So I took it down that route. I had mixed results. I've had mixed results from that,
Yeah.
but that felt a little bit more true to me and true to who I am. The whole education side of things. It's obviously not as fiery as your moments where there's this absolute spike.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think it's just to bring it to the music also, and what you're saying now, because as I'm like 10,000 people that are your clients. Obviously, when I look at your page, I'm like, yo, 10,000. This guy is, he's gone, and you there like, look, I know what the numbers look like, and sometimes it's, unfortunately or fortunately, as let's say as a fan, most times they don't care who the 10,000 people are. They just care about the fact that you have 10,000 people, and when you are working with brands of like 10,000 people, this guy's a real deal, and we're gone. But something that I want to touch on, which you've also just been able to do it quite well, especially with everything that's happening, is I remember I had a conversation with John A. I told you about John A.
oh yeah,
Yeah. Had a conversation with him when I was still heavily making music, and I remember saying to him, "Yo, bro, I want you to make," because he had a different type of sound. So like, I want you to make this type of beat. I sent it to him. He said to me, "If you want me to make a type beat, then don't talk to me."
Yo, I'm not the guy. Nice.
I said, what? I said, bro, like, this is what's popping out there. And he's always been adamant on, I'm not going to make you what's popping out there. If you come to me, you must come to me for my type of sound. And then I was offended. I was like, bro, we've been working together since the beginning. You know what I'm saying?
Just make it, bro.
Just make the thing. You can. Because he used to make, when he started, he used to remake instrumentals.
Yeah.
So he made you like, what's that song by Mick Mill? I'm a boss. Boss, he made those things, and I'm like, yo, we'd be like, he's the one. So I'm like, you can make something like this. So why aren't you making it? It's like, nah, if you want a type beat, go to someone else. And I think you also, for me, remind me of a bit of that in terms of like your sound. You've got a very unique sound, and in a world of music where trap is popping, like these type beats. If you go to YouTube now and you see a type beat, it's like, that's where it's at. How have you managed to stick to your guns and said, this is what I'm working on? Because I think, back to what he was talking about how do you create something timeless and something unique in such a noisy environment? What is giving you that thing to say, I'm sticking to my guns and I will make what feels right to me?
Yeah. That is, I think it's a combination of things. I'd say first and foremost, I'm stubborn. I'm stubborn with my thoughts about music.
Okay.
So my first stubborn point that I've always held in my mind is that I'm not of the mainstream. I'm not.
Can you hear the thing? The
What?
feedback?
Yeah, it's coming from here.
Okay.
I think that's the way I was holding it. I'm not of the mainstream.
Sure.
I'm not, because when I was making beats for the guys I was making beats for, Tweezy, Ruff, who else was popping at the time? I guess Sketchy, you can throw Sketchy Bongo
Sketchy
in there
Bongo.
and as well.
When is this? Is this 2014?
Gemini. No, it's a bit later than that. I'd say maybe. Anyway, we can say, let's make the bracket nice and big. Anywhere between 2014 and 2018.
18, yeah.
Yeah, let's make the bracket nice and big. So I was making songs, but they weren't. I was watching other people, other beat makers. I'm like, I'm also capable, but I'm not gonna make the next Run Josie.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna make the next whatever track was big after that. So very quickly I realized where my lane was, and I was like, okay, cool. If I'm gonna be here, let me live here and let me do it as best as I can. So that was where that stubbornness came in, where I'm like, look, even if I do make a club banger, am I gonna be that happy with doing that? That's not what I. It's not me. It doesn't feel
Sure.
authentic to who I am.
Yeah.
Then I was fortunate that those tracks where I loved what I was doing, there was a bit of traction I was starting to see. So I was like, okay, so I can carve something over there. Can carve something out for myself over there in the corner.
Sure.
And I've just run with that. I don't necessarily want to look back and think that was a dope track that I did. Might have gotten a plug. I'm not going to say I don't want a plug. I mean, these are, you can say, someone can probably say, Cap, this guy, he just isn't good enough to make a hit.
Yeah.
That's fine. But I had to go find my space. I was, and that's also where sync music and making music for TV and publishing, and that's where that came in, because I understood that game. When I went there, I was like, this is actually not this is a dope game that, it's different. It's not mainstream. I can shine in a different way. I don't have to be in the club. I don't have to be schmoozing with other people and trying to get into studio and sit in these sessions and be that person. I can be the reserved person that I am. I can live my truth. And I know it's, in hindsight, it's 2020. It sounds like, Silas had a plan, or Adrian had a plan. I didn't have this plan, because at that time I didn't have proof that any of the stuff was going to work. But then as the proof started to stack up, then I was like, okay. Then it became easier for me to believe and start to now speak with the conviction that I'm speaking with now on what I'm saying, that I can stick to my sound. I can create my sound, and it doesn't matter what trend comes through. Also, I'm a little bit old. I'm not old, but I'm a little bit older, so I've seen trends come in. Dubstep. I watched dubstep come go. I watched it come go. I watched piano, all of these things. For as much as they're not going to die, they never die. Doesn't die. Go to Durban now.
Popping.
It's there.
Yeah. There's a trending song now.
Dog.
Now.
These things live on, but they refine themselves. I do not want to classify or sort of ride my career on the fact that I went down that road and now that's where I went. Because the moment that thing dies down, now I'm angry. Now, like how you are, it's monkey jump. And now I have to now pander to the next sound, which is whatever form of whatever genre it is that's now popped up. And I didn't want to do that. I don't want to do that at all.
Do you think there's value in trying to find balance between the two? So in not being so stubborn and stuck in your ways, but also not jumping on the wave,
Just doing the thing.
Yeah. Because I mean, a lot of like I said, if a friend of mine, gave me hell with that thing, with that
The TikTok thing.
the TikTok thing. To this day, it still gives me hell. Dude, do covers, do that. And I'm like, I don't want to, because I don't want to be famous. And it's like, what? You don't want to be famous? Then how are you gonna get clients? I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I don't want to be famous, because, like I said, it just feels like it gets to a point where you lose your voice. And especially as an artist or as a creative, where I feel like the moment you lose your voice or your ability to think for yourself, then you know that you are in a bad place. So, but like, do you think there's value in finding both, or just lean on one and ignore the other one?
I think it's important. I think it's important to play the game of, you can be a person who is who does their own thing, but incorporates. Just like with social media and what we were talking about earlier, that you understand and you acknowledge the beast of the algorithm, and you play the game to an extent. Maybe you'll get someone in to do your thumbnails every now and again just to make it look a bit cleaner, or you will play the game and maybe buy a decent camera. You'll do a little bit and you'll incorporate it into what you're doing, so that you can take care of some of those metrics that I was talking about that you need to take care of, like eventually wanting to earn money or to get a brand deal or something. You might need to just clean yourself. You clean up what it is that you're doing a little bit. You might need to take in elements of what you're doing. I even now do it to this day where I remember the first time it happened was with trap, when trap was really picking up. And I was like, I'm not going to roll my hi-hats. I will not do it. I won't do it. I'm not going to put my synthesizers I will not do it. And then people started asking for it. And I was like, the economy of it. Now we need to play the game of the economy of it. Now I'm losing clients. It's not going so well. Let me take what I was doing. I had a very, very heavy Timbaland, Kanye West, Ryan Leslie, John Bellion, am I missing anyone? Pharrell. People who had very distinct sounds. So that's how I was. I was like, I'm going to hold on to my sound, but I'm going to bring in an 808 and see what happens. Okay, I can do that. Okay, cool. I can bring in a rolling hi-hat every now and again just to play around with what's going on. And it even happened now. It's happening now with a log drum. There's log drums in my beats now because I'm trying to play that game a bit. There has to be that balance because for as much as you want to remain timeless, you kind of also need to be, there needs to be a time element of timelessness, but then there also needs to be relevance to that timelessness in your music.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a tricky game to play because as you can imagine, you play Monkey Jump and then something pops off. Then now you're in it.
I'm thinking about something, no? Because like you said, you were making the sounds, and then you're like, okay, let me incorporate this, let me incorporate that. But somehow you've still found balance in terms of like, I still want to create like so, yeah. And then the at the beginning of the episode, and I think even when we came across the post, I was like, I'm angry at the fact that people aren't taking the time to really consume what is being shared and like all the gems that is there. You know, we always talk about there was an episode that we recorded on expectations, and Usim was we were talking about helping people, right?
Okay.
Do you find value in like going back home to Escala and talking to people and whatnot? And he's like, nah. He's like, nah. People must go through it by themselves, you know. And I'm in the school of thought of saying, nah, dude, like open. Let us not
That
get
is so harsh,
nah,
but like, I get like, okay, yeah.
He's like, nah, bro.
Yeah,
People
I
must
get
go through it. And then I was like, nah, but you know, if we can make it easier for them, then perhaps we should, and we should try.
Okay.
But I'm also just now thinking about it, and I'm like, do you think it's wise for us to even try have these conversations where people are getting educated or creating these resources? Because ultimately, that's what's gonna trend. You know, you find, and I said it there to say it's never been easier to be great. It's something I've been saying, I think, throughout the podcast journey. Because I mean, it's tough. Podcasting is tough. Getting to what episode am I on now? Probably 19 approaching 20.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, bro.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
I'm getting there. You know.
Yeah.
And it's taken me over a year. So I understand how difficult it is to do 20 episodes. But for someone else, like 20 episodes, it's whatever, you know. But I'm like, wait until you get on. Like you try.
Try it.
You try it, and you'll see. So, do you think there's value in trying to get people to break out of the matrix when you could just be like, you know what, you guys are in the matrix, I am there, and then you go and flourish and you make the most out of it because the opportunities there will all be for you and yourself. Well, let me rephrase, because you've been very active. Like you're saying, I'm gonna teach you how.
Yeah.
What gives you that instead of saying, you guys? If people are saying, look at this person, Daniel Watwat, he said this, sharp. Keep quiet.
Are you saying what drives?
Yeah.
What drives being a person who continually does something?
What drives you to continuously try to break people out of the matrix, like of the linear thinking that everybody else has, or out of the crowd? Why do you still want to pull people out of the crowd to say, guys, there is meat. There is, that's
Go
where it's
eat
at.
there, yeah.
Yeah.
It is. We have this conversation all the time, this whole blue ocean thing where, and especially in the music industry, this is the one place, there's one thing I feel passionate about in the music industry, and it ties into a lot of other industries as well, is this whole red ocean thing where everybody goes to where they see blood, where the brand deals are, where the gigs are, the features with the artists are, what's popping right now. They want to go right there. And I've seen more than enough people lose a lot playing in the red ocean because there's sharks in that ocean. It's tough. It's difficult to go through it. It's not easy, and it can be the outcome can be very painful. So much so that I've watched many people just stop making music altogether. And there's nothing worse. I don't care whether you are amazing or whether you're a trash artist, but there's nothing worse than watching the creative fire leave someone's eyes. That thing is painful. And that person might have actually been dope, or they might have been maybe 2 or 3 years from becoming dope. Just on that, did you see that video of Post Malone, his first track?
No.
Bruh, you need to see that thing. It's trash.
It's
trash. But that's what I mean. Like,
there's that one by Ed Sheeran. I think that one is what got me, because he was playing on an interview.
Yeah.
He was playing a recording of him from way back.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, you like, for a moment I was like, then I can learn how to sing, because I can't sing. But I was like, when I heard that, I was like, bro, then the guitar is off. I'm like, what is going on? And if you think about Ed Sheeran right now, when he plays that video, if he didn't have that footage, I wouldn't be, or that clip, I wouldn't believe that he was that bad. Yeah,
he's been talented his whole life.
Yeah.
So I understand that, because I've seen it many times where I'm like, damn, this person's they've been rapping for 3 years. They're actually a lot better. You see them develop, you see all of that stuff happening. But for you to develop and go through that, sure, you're going to have your bad moments, but why not do it in an environment that's not going to tear you apart if you get it wrong? Why not think about alternative ways of trying to uplift yourself? Maybe not through necessarily being an artist, but being an artist manager. Maybe not necessarily through being a performing artist. Maybe you can be a sync artist, or maybe you can become a session musician of some kind, or maybe you can become a mentor of some kind, and you can raise the next 3 big artists and get them signed, and then from there you move as their artist manager. Like, there's so many other creative ways where it's not red ocean, it's blue ocean. No one is, bruh, some of the spaces I play in, there's no one there. And I'm like, you walk into a room and you expect to see a full hall of people. You open up and it's crickets, like it's empty. You're like, okay, no, clearly no one wants this. But that is, I don't want to fill up those rooms, but I want to show and conscientize people to the fact that you don't have to do it
that way.
You don't have to do it that way. There's an easier way. Sometimes it's not easier, but there's a different way. And it's a way that might resonate with you better. Because like you're saying, you don't want to be famous. I've seen many artists who don't want to be doing what they're doing specifically. They come in, they're singing house. And they're singing house because their last 3 tracks that got playlisted were house tracks.
Music, yeah.
But they're not house artists. They're in fact R&B artists. And R&B doesn't do so well in South Africa. Therefore, they've gone down this road of becoming that person. And you can see, I'm thinking of one in my mind right now. He doesn't make music anymore. And he was being playlisted, gang playlisted for his house music. He saw a little bit of, the good stuff happen. And it was, again, I'm here in this space. Let me make more of it. He started getting gigs. The gigs started paying him a lot. He was living a good life. And then out of nowhere, fire out of his eyes. Stopped completely. And now he doesn't make any music. I haven't heard any music come from that person in years. So...
It's sad.
Yeah.
And this thing, is actually, it's not even limited to just creators or just music, Like I said, we end up in a lot of rooms where you find yourself you sit and you look around. Even when you're with people, you sit and you look around, you're like, I think I might be the only person in this room who thinks the way that I do, right? I'd spoken about earlier not today, but like earlier just, in this podcast or what about just keeping quiet, because sometimes you feel like, having a thought different to the crowd is a problem. You hearing it?
I am. It comes and goes.
Yeah, I don't know where it's coming from. But like I found myself in a lot of times where even in university where I'm in class and they ask a question and nobody's lifting raising their hands,
Yeah.
and then I think, nah, this answer that I have might not be the one, and I think that also sometimes might contribute a lot to this thing of everyone going and following the crowd, because they're like, for example, you get into these rooms or the blue ocean, you find no one there, then you think, then I'm probably in the wrong room, and you walk out because you're like, like it's just there's just no way that nobody has thought of doing this.
Yeah.
Which is scary.
Mm-hmm.
It's scary because if I'm the first person to talk about this, how is it that I'm special? Like, how has no one thought of this? And I'm finding it difficult for myself, especially to accept the fact that, bro, what you're thinking about is actually legit. Just put it out there and see how it goes, because the people around you might not even be thinking about it. And I found this in a lot of rooms with people that I would expect to be, existing, I think, in the same wavelength. So how do we or how do we get that assurance to say, nah, this is it, regardless of how do you find comfort in being in the blue ocean, especially when there's no one else, let's say?
I think because it doesn't feel nice in the beginning. Like you've said it, you feel like something's wrong. Am I a divergent thinker?
Yeah.
Am I weird? Am I strange? Or have I just lost the plot? There's no one here because this is not the place. Things aren't popping off here. So until you have the easiest way for me is seeing proof that what you're doing sort of works, but it's tough. It's very, very difficult. They say, what do they say? Because you're talking about being someone who's in a space, having thoughts about something that other people
seem not to be thinking about.
What did they say? They said something about talent versus genius.
Okay.
They said something about talent being able to hit a target that's difficult to see, and then genius being able to hit hitting a target. Talent is it's hitting a target that's difficult to hit. Genius is hitting a target that other people aren't even able to see.
Lil Wayne says, there's a video that he has where he says, be grateful. Be grateful that you have answers to questions that you have answers to questions that people haven't even started asking, and you can see things that basically nobody's even thinking about. And he said, be grateful, because it feels scary and it feels lonely, but be grateful because that's what sets you apart, I guess.
Yes. And if you find one of those, hold on to it, because what's nice about this life is you don't have to be right all the time. You only need to be right a few times, and you're out of here. You can, and I think now, and this actually full circle back to what Daniel Ek was saying, that should you find that thing, it's magical. Should you create that timeless piece of something, should you hold on to that thing, see the vision that no one else sees, have the thoughts that no one else has, document them down, explore them, figure them out, polish them off, put them out into the world. Should that pop off, it's magic. It's beautiful. It's not like those tracks you're talking about that will last 3 weeks or 3 months. This is music that is going to live on. These are ideas that are going to live on. I think with Marcus Aurelius, it was a journal. That the guy during it's just a damn shame. While he was alive, he was just a normal cat. He was a normal cat. And then when they uncovered the teachings or the idea of Stoicism, they were like, "Yo, this person here had some real developed thoughts." So.
Real developed thoughts that resonate in 2024. And it's I think the concept of Stoicism is like, it's very controversial now, where be stoic, do that, and it's not the popular opinion to have in this climate, because we are, I think, as men, just the conversations is about us being what's this word? It's not malleable. Is it malleable?
Being able to change.
No, not malleable. It's, go with the wind. Like be in touch with your emotions. We spoke about it yesterday briefly on the mental health conversation. Like, be in touch with your emotions. Cry if you need to. Sleep in if you don't want to do the thing, and etc. etc. And I think if you even start or tap into that conversation, you quickly realize how controversial it is. But it shouldn't really be a controversial concept. You get what I'm saying? It shouldn't be a controversial concept. And the people that are pro that right now are the ones that are being cancelled, which is such a shame. I saw something by Jimmy Carr. You know Jimmy Carr, the comedian. Yeah. And he was talking about, because he always gets cancelled all the time.
I mean,
yeah.
If you're a comedian, you're not getting cancelled, you ain't doing something right.
Yeah. Hey, bro. I then went, because I saw his interview first, and I went to him like, let me go listen to this guy. I'm like, bro, you've said some
he said some wild.
Oh, like,
wild.
He pushes the envelope. Like, he pushes the envelope. Yeah. But he was talking about something, and he's saying, I think the problem that we have in our time is that we don't know the difference between the idea and the person. So he says we criticize ideas, but we cancel people. And that's where the problem lies, is that if I'm canceling Adrian because he said one bad thing in a video that has 99% truth, then all that truth is thrown out the door, when it could actually be so beneficial. So and that's where I'm like, it's so sad. Same thing, like, 99% of this post is true. Even what he was saying about the cost of creation has become close to none. Imagine having a full production. How much it probably was back then. Close to impossible. But now we have access to having a full show and a podcast, something close to radio, without having a radio station or like hiring 20 people. You obviously have to experience the phone cutting and the audio just not being pressed. But it's part of the process. And that's where that's why I feel so strongly about that encounter, to like, okay, now I'm sorry because you're scared of being cancelled. What's your thoughts about this being cancelled and wanting to play it safe, and following what isn't popular, like being stoic isn't popular right now? If I say be stoic, you have toxic masculinity very quickly. And I'm associated with that. I'm tagged with that. My podcast is cancelled.
Yeah, you're done. We out. We're done. We finished. Yeah, just because of that. My viewpoint on that is, so my viewpoint is, might be in my I'm not old. I keep saying it, but in my years, my years in life, nothing's black and white. There's very few times where things are black and white, where you can get a piece of information and you can make a judgment call based on that. It's just different shades of gray. It's just different hues, and it depends on the day and the time whether one shade of gray is more correct than the other. That's just how it is. So there's certain things that I pull from. There's certain information and certain ideas I pull from places that are sometimes very strange. Let's take an example that's very polarizing: the red pill culture.
Okay.
And how you can have.
Do you wanna describe what that is?
No.
Okay. Yeah.
So with red pill culture, you have people who will say some wild things.
Yeah.
They'll say hectic stuff. You're like, wow, you can't say that. And then you'll have another person, or the same person, will say something that makes so much, just very plain sense. That's the point that I'm trying to make, is that you've got this thing over here that should make it very polarizing. That person's this, that person is that. We can't listen to anything he says. But let's actually, for a moment, just write it down as words, and then let's read it out, and then let's break it down. Forget about who wrote it. let's actually work through what is being said and whether or not that is truthful. I always say such a bad example, and this example might get you cancelled.
For me,
Yeah, it will get me cancelled.
I have 75 subscribers. Yeah.
It might get me cancelled, but during times of absolute hardship, I'm going to say hardship, let's call it, what's a nice word for this? Heavy amounts of discrimination that resulted in large amounts of violence, whether it be war or concentration camps or apartheid. You've got all these different things where we're like, that thing is terrible. It's bad. But through the bad, there were lessons learned.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
an example, this is another horrible example, is how do we know at what temperature the human skin burns?
Yeah.
How do we know that? That is stuff that came off of a bad time that no one wants to touch. They don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
But this is information that we now have that is now being used for good. Because now when other things are being done in industries, we know what the human skin can take. So you get what I'm saying? You've got that thing where you're like, hey, we went through that bad thing, but now that we know, do we just discount all the information? Or do we say we can use the information because we can twist it and use it for good? Is it?
Yeah.
Can we talk about it? Is it?
No,
yeah.
No. To be. You're getting cancer.
It's not good. It's not good.
No.
But it's there. The information is there.
It's honestly, like I said, when I say and saying 75 subscribers is not to discount the number of subscribers, right? But honestly, to a point, I also want to have, if people are gonna be subscribing and tuning in, I want them to tune in for and be able to take or have those open conversations, because for me it doesn't help. It hasn't helped. It's never helped to tiptoe around the truth, right? And it's a true. You're right. You know, going through apartheid was terrible. We're not excusing that it was terrible. It was, but the system. Look at the system. How did it work? How did they do it like that? Okay, and then from apartheid, what lessons were learned? What did you guys know about yourself? You saying we now know about the temperature with the human skin, burns.
That's a very specific example, but it's one of many. Yeah,
we don't have to. We're not dismissing or rather saying that, that event is good, but it's saying, okay, now from that we can actually extract so many things, and I feel like we are losing that at a not even slowly. We are losing it at a rapid pace where we're discarding so much that from so much that we can learn from. I said in last episode or something, I was like, I sometimes think the difficulties, even yesterday when we speak about mental health. So we were talking about like the traumas that I have, and I was like, to be honest, it's not nice to go through such traumas, but to an extent, I've learned something, and I've been able to get and accumulate a couple of traits from going through that experience. Not to say that I want to go back and live through it again or excusing it, but if I can look back and say, if I'm reflecting, the reason I have this characteristics is because of that. The reason that I'm a patient person is because of that. And unfortunately, that's what we have to go through in life. There's a lot of things we can't control. There was such a beautiful model, man. I think I'll probably look it up again, where it was talking about like the things that we can, I don't know if it's like a Venn diagram, but the things that we can control, the things that we can't control, and where we should be and where you should be spending a lot of your time, and the things that you can't control, you can't be there. And that's where we chill. We chill in, but, apartheid was bad. Yes, it was bad. And then what? It was bad. So what? Does talking about it make it better? No. Does it change the events of the past? No. So then what can we extract from this? And if we can't extract anything from it, then let's move on. Let's have a different conversation. And we're not getting in those spaces, unfortunately. We it's mental health. A very sensitive conversation. People don't want to talk about mental health because some of them don't want to express what they think. I've always said, this is also probably going to sound very wild. I was, it's a cancelable episode. But I've said, like, I prefer a racist that calls me kafir to my face than someone who smiles at me, because then I don't know what they're thinking. I'd rather engage with that person to understand them. Why do you think like this? Where is this coming from? What are you taught? Because if I at least engage with them, then I can come up with something to say, oh, that's why these people don't like this, black people or whatever. And I think we're not having those conversations. People are scared to have those conversations because if we have a difference in opinion, we have to be enemies.
Yeah, it's either it's this side or that side,
which takes away the it's the common sense is not so common. It's never been more true. Common sense isn't so common, and for me, I don't like that, because are we really growing the society if we're avoiding the topics that sting?
Yeah.
If an opinion, or if you silence people that have opinions that go against what we believe in, are we really winning? Would you rather have, I'll use church as an example because I'm there, but would you rather have 1,000 people in church that pretend to be this model and this thing that looks that is appealing to church, or do you want everyone to be themselves and to voice out and then work with that? Because if you give people the opportunity to open up about who they are and their thoughts, then you have a slight chance of changing their mind if that's necessary for them. And if you lose, that's fine, but at least you know what you're working with. But this thing of pretend player was maybe it's not pretend player is not the right thing, but we acting, and I mean it's good. I've said it, like, we need to act, because you can't be out there expressing and shoving ideas
too
down.
much.
To an extent, we need to obviously maintain homeostasis in society, but it's really coming at a very high cost. And I worry that we're coming out of elections. We were following what's on social media. People didn't take time to say, okay, what do I want to do? Oh, this is happening, and they speak on it. I'm of the opinion, which people don't like, that if I don't have anything to say, then I just keep quiet. And if I don't know enough, and if I don't know enough and I don't want to know enough, then I keep quiet, This idea of reposting something because Silas posted it, it must be the truth. Then everyone jumps on it. The moment it gets challenged, I'm like, wait, Silas?
I didn't really feel that way. So maybe you can explain what you meant.
Yeah. People get upset. I don't know if you've had it. People get upset the moment you just ask basic questions on their opinions or their formulations. Are like, hey, do you get that a bit?
I guess it depends on who it is that I'm engaging with, and how comfortable, like you're saying, how comfortable they are having that conversation about stuff. Because some people are so. The moment you start asking basic questions, it's not taken as I want to know more. It's taken as I'm here to challenge and I'm here to change your thoughts. And you know how people are when you want to try and change their thoughts. When two people are arguing, they're not really trying to make each other, most of the time. Well, from what I've seen, a lot of the time people aren't really trying to make the other person understand them better. They're just trying to impose their thoughts on the other. And it's literally right across the board, from religion to music to, is it CR7 versus Messi? That's it's always an argument. One is it's this one or is that one over there. And let's argue. Wow, and then we go at it. But it's never really I've seen it's few times that I've seen people have a real sit down. Let's talk. Okay, you're Muslim. I'm Christian. Let's talk about it. Where are the similarities in what we believe? Let's start there. Oh, that's different to what we believe, and then we have that engagement, because we're more likely to extrapolate not just good information about what the other person knows, but you then also start to get into how they feel about it. And you get to learn the other person. It just makes that interaction that much more strong, more solid, deeper. And those are those connections where you're like, okay, today I think we both learned something here. This was a dope experience, as opposed to it just being like, yeah, man, I met a vegan earlier and we went at it. They were busy giving me stats on meat and this and that, and we weren't able to see eye to eye. We couldn't even have a conversation. Prove me wrong. I eat meat. Yeah, that's what I always feel like. I always feel like if a vegan rolled up on me,
tell me. I challenge you. Yeah, yeah,
I'd be terrible because
yeah.
of some of the energy that I've seen that comes from that conversation. But hey, dog, it's tough.
And there really isn't growth when you get into a discussion or a conversation with a decisive mindset. If you come into a conversation, you already decided, then there's no point of that conversation, which we get a lot. People already decided. If you don't agree with me, sharp, then I'll go left, you go right, you know.
Yeah.
Whereas I think you don't have to agree, you know, at the end of it, but just to say, what can I take from what this person is saying? In closing, man, where do you see things going, us going as a society? Just, you know, taking into account what's currently happening, there's these things that are angering us. What's your prediction for the next couple of years for us as a species?
As a species, it's a big call because bruh, stuff can change in the space of a couple of weeks. Not to mention, there's all this. What throws out any predictions now is technology and AI and this and the development of that. So it makes it so difficult to know what's going to happen next. But I think I commented on one of your videos, and I said something along the lines of, I like where this is going, where it feels like we're dressing things down now. Some years ago, if you were to put content out, it would need to, you'd want to doctor everything. You know, it'd be makeup, and we'd need to make sure that we're in a quiet room, and we need to make sure everything's perfect and everything's polished. And that became even more polished and more polished and more polished and more polished, to a point where your video needs to be 30 seconds long. The hook needs to be the first 3 seconds of the video. In the first few seconds, if the algorithm doesn't hear you say the word or the catchphrase, then you get cancelled. All that other stuff is sort of now, we're taking it back, which is, I mean, we are such cyclical creatures.
Yeah.
We are as humans. That
Yeah.
you see the fashions, they repeat themselves. Music, I believe it'll be the same with the music industry as well. That we are going to go back to a place where I don't know if you feel it, but I don't feel comfortable with the way things are at the moment. Again, it could be age, it could be because we're out of our depth, because we're not connected, feet to the ground, or ears to the ground, hearing exactly and able to keep up with what is current at the moment. Something doesn't feel right.
Can I say something on that?
Yeah.
You see what you're saying, right? Hearing it from you, I'm like, okay, it's expected. But for me as well, it doesn't feel right. But the problem is, I don't know if enough people feel this way. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if it's just a matter of being that type of person who is sitting on the side of things and watching things play out, or if everyone really is is starting to feel uncomfortable. I mean, you mentioned the big creators earlier, to say people are now saying, nah, actually, this doesn't feel like I've made the money, but it's gotten to a point where I'm no longer myself. So it makes me a bit hopeful, but I look around, I'm like,
there's not enough people that you're seeing,
or maybe it's the rate. Maybe I'm just impatient because of the rate at which it's happening. But
it could be that. I think we are seeing it, and if we look at content creation specifically, what's this guy's name? That guy who goes to the gym and he just documents his day.
Sam Sulek.
That guy.
Sam Sulek.
Yeah. He apparently broke the algorithm because of the method in which he did his things.
Yeah.
He just did whatever. He didn't care. He just put the camera up. He just did whatever.
He's got the mic on his cap. He's not following he's not following because people talk when they talk about rap. You remember the video? I think you sent me. Or I sent you the one about the guy who was talking about time under tension.
Oh yeah,
the gym one. He doesn't care about that. He will say, "Hey, bro, just get as many reps as you can, even if they are half reps. Get the reps, And he's jacked, so people will be like, I wanna. And he says, I'm not natty. I'm not natural. So I'm not gonna lie to you and say I'm natural, but I'm jacked. Look at me now. So yeah.
So that I love that. I like that. I like the fact that we don't have, because now it's going to start to make certain things feel really stupid. Can't
wait.
I know exactly. I can't wait for that day where we look and we're like, wow, people really did BBLs. That's a wild one for me. When it was explained to me, I was like, yo, this is dangerous. Like, for your health, bro.
Now you're getting canceled.
No. It's one of many things. One of many things where you look at it and you're like,
No, but yeah.
Because look at it like this.
Yeah.
Beauty standards in the 90s.
Yeah.
How people were getting super unnaturally thin.
Yeah.
We look back on it now and we're like, whoa.
Yeah.
Yo, we're really starving. Like, it was hectic.
Yeah.
So the reason I just I don't know, sorry, it was a terrible. It was a.
It's not a terrible one. It's a valid one.
Let me not apologize.
Yeah.
Then. We're gonna look back. Hopefully, I'm hoping we get to this point where we look back and we're like, wow, what a time that was. 2020 to 2030. However long this cycle takes. That we look back on it and we go, wow, what a time. And we get to a point where things don't feel so bad anymore.
Yeah.
Music feels good again. We're able to, have a bit of a step. Dress sense, goes in a certain direction. We're happy with it. We're like, okay, this is, there's times like that. There's eras where we're like, wow, that was a dope era to be in. And I think I'm just waiting for that to happen. It'll happen. It's coming.
It's just a matter of when. And I mean, if you really do, I guess when you are on the ground or when you are in the industry or like doing the thing, you get a bit more impatient. For example, with music, like hip hop used to pop, and we were like, this is forever, and then hip hop wasn't popping anymore, and now making hip hop feels like you're just chasing your tail because nothing is catching on. And it's like, hip hop is back, guys, and then another piano song drops, and you're like, nah, forget it, my G. So
back to the drawing board.
So I guess, yeah. So
it'll happen, bro.
Just a matter of
just be brave and I guess for you, be patient and
chill out.
I don't know, bro.
Now I'm waiting to wait it out, because I mean, this is the only thing that I feel like as a platform I can do, which is have these conversations. I'm not good at having conversations for the sake of it. I asked you the other day, I was like, do you think it's a blessing or curse that when you don't subscribe to societal thing? The reason I was asking is because you look around, you say, if we were to make a podcast and the topic that we'll be covering that trends right now is what's happening on social media. So taking that and bringing it to the podcast would then bring the people to come to the podcast because at least someone is talking about it. But I found that I don't get joy from consuming a lot of stuff on social media, especially while they, like in their acute stages, where nobody really knows what's happening and it's trending, but there isn't anything conclusive. There's a lot of topics we could be talking about and dissecting them, but I'm just like, what's the point of it? I feel like this one makes more sense for me, this one, the disability conversation, mental health, not only because it's June and it's men's mental health month. I didn't even know that, and I'm a man.
You didn't know?
I didn't know. Sim told me on camera. I thought it's mental health month.
I'm playing. I didn't know either. For me, June is for kids. That's what I know.
Is it?
June 16th.
Oh, yeah, for youth.
Yeah.
Let's say kids. When it says kids, it's for youth.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I need to watch my words.
Yeah. For the babies.
Yeah.
That's what I know. And I think the reason I know about this mental health month is because someone posted on WhatsApp about the crazy socks thingy.
Okay.
The crazy socks for dogs?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but they posted colorful socks. And I think I was like, and then it was mental health. I was like, oh, okay, mental health month makes sense. Cause
I remember some healthcare professionals. It was a few years ago. They did a similar thing.
Yeah.
Crazy socks for under their scrubs.
Or they wear socks that don't match to raise awareness. And I was like, oh, it's mental health month. Then it seemed like, nah, it's actually men's mental health month. And I was like, say what now? Yeah. And we shared some scary stats yesterday. That men are 4 times more likely to commit suicide than women. I was like, that's insane. So for me, I would rather have that conversation, especially because something that I do care about. It may not be trendy, it may not be the most popular opinion, but I feel like we need to have discussions where I'm challenged. I may be stubborn, and that's fair, but I want to be able to stand and say, if somebody asks me something off air, I stand and I say the same thing. And it's not like, no, he was just saying it for camera. Yeah. Because I can only do that for so long. When there's now 1,000, 1 million people, and it's like, they watch me. Yeah. I switch off the mic. I think the mic is switched off, and I start talking, and then I say something out of
Out of
that goes
character,
against
goes against, yeah.
I'm losing everyone.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really do hope. You hopeful? I'm not as hopeful. I mean, because you've seen the cycles, but I'm not as hopeful. But I really do hope we get to a point, man, where being authentic is being praised again. We're giving credit to people that are sticking to who they want to be. Yes, integrate social media and the algorithm and stuff, but force the algorithm to do what because it'll follow where everyone goes. You know, and I feel like if we start pushing it to a point where everyone now, the content creators are being genuine, they're being legit, the makeups are off, they're not dancing to get followers, they're doing what they love, and the talent, you know, is being appreciated, being unique is appreciated, creating something that is gonna last longer, you know, have a longer shelf life, a song that may not sound catchy in the moment or may not sound like it's gonna be the banger for December, but it's a beautiful song that everybody keeps going back to. I think that's where I'm going to be like, I'm happy as a content creator and as a consumer.
What if 30 years go by? Sorry, I know I'm opening up something, but like, what if 35 years go by and that doesn't happen?
And
Like what? Yeah, like what
for
if?
me,
Yeah, what happens to you?
I'm just the guy who had conversations that nobody cared about. You know?
But then, how would you feel if we don't get to that point where we kind of double down on
what's currently happening?
I'll
feel good, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah, I'll feel good. I'll feel good because then I won't look back and say, well, there's two things, right? I'll feel good by sticking to my guns and having the conversations that I wanted to have, right? Or having the platform that I want, that I can be proud of, that I can tell my kids go back to. I have a song. This is an example. I had a song, not very old. It's on iTunes. I bought it on iTunes. Then it's obviously on Apple Music. I deleted Apple Music, and I tried to delete the song on iTunes. I can't. And so when I plug my phone on my car into my car, that's the first song that plays. I hate the song. I made the song. My niece knows the song. It has cuss words. She asked me, "Why are you cussing so much, Malume?" And I'm like, I hate the fact that that's a song that you know me by, because if you play it to your friends, she's still young, 11, 12. If she plays a song to her friends, it's not a song I'm proud of. It's not a song I'm saying,
because you're running your mouth.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a poppy. It pops. Like it's a song. If you play it, you're like, oh, okay. People that probably would mess with it, but it's not a song that I would want. Under my your catalog and stuff. You know, it's not a song I want to talk about. The songs I can talk about. But so I'm saying I'll be happy in that. I'll be like, I had the conversations when it wasn't popular to have the conversations.
Yeah.
I did the thing that I wanted to when nobody was looking or nobody was watching. I was telling Sim yesterday, I was like, bro, that initial kick, because the first two had like 100 views, I think, or the first one had 100 views in 2 days. I said that initial kick is gone now. Yeah. This is where the real work starts.
Yeah.
Because now they're not as excitable or about you being on a podcast, being on screen, talking and stuff. They passed that. Now the real people will start to come through. Yeah. But all the numbers that you see, we can't focus on them. Those can't determine our growth. We now still need to stick and do what we gotta do. We obviously have our ear on the ground and hear what the genuine people are saying. You left a comment there. I've said it takes a lot to leave a comment on a YouTube video. You leave a comment, it's something constructive. I'm like, okay, this is beautiful. Have a conversation with someone else. They'll point something out. Do that different. Do that. We'll take it, and it's constructive as long as it's in line with what we want to do. But so I'll be happy in that regard. I might, on the other side, on the economical side of things, be like, flip dog, I had an opportunity to jump on what probably could have brought bread short term, and I missed that opportunity. Maybe I will, because they always say people regret the things that they didn't do. But I think the things that I was able to do and I did, I'll be more proud of that more than what I didn't jump on. For example, that training thing, I could have jumped on those open verse things.
Yeah.
And I can still do it now, but at my own pace. And I'll do it when I feel like it. If I don't, then I won't. So in that regard, I don't regret not getting on that thing, because I feel like by now I probably would have fell off, or I would have run out of bumpy verses to thingy, and the pressure probably would have drowned me. So that's how I feel. Your side?
Dope. I'll just be like, it's whatever. I'll be sad.
Because you didn't get there.
Like, if we don't get to a place where we're doing like more genuine stuff and it's more authentic, I'll be sad if we don't get there. I'm sort of holding out on humans to see another way. I just see us going through a cycle where we take it back to not what it was, but to a new thing. Let's even forget the past. We take it to this new place where things are authentic again. Things are that type of stuff is celebrated. Being real. And then we can go back. We can come back here again. We can come back because it's always going to be cycles. We're going to have 10 years, 15 years, 30 years, and we'll just keep on moving through cycles. That for me feels normal. But if it just doesn't happen, and this is us for the rest of time,
we are doomed.
We're doomed, bruh. It's not going to be dope. That's how I feel.
You know, the unfortunate part about, just in closing, the unfortunate part about all these terrible cycles or these terrible moments in history is that, you know, industry benefits, for example.
Always.
Yeah, industry benefits. And I don't know if, that's what I'm saying, I'm not very hopeful, to be honest, in terms of everybody feeling that discomfort. Because I don't think people can see what's happening. And people say, you guys are, what's the thing? Conspiracy theories. And I'm like, bro, just look around. We are in health. We can see things. We have, look at research. You're like, this big thing, COVID was, this. So I think industry always benefits. BBLs, plastic surgeons are probably eating now the more than ever, because if it's not, I saw someone have a surgery for their hairline. So they, forehead reduction. Yeah. It's a lady on Instagram, forehead reduction. And someone asked, I saw one comment says, who pushed you to this? Like, I'm heartbroken by, I hope nobody bullied you to the point where you felt like you needed to get a forehead reduction. The normal one. Botox used to look ridiculous back then. People are getting Botox, and it's like,
bro, some of the stuff I'm seeing now, it's intense, bro. I can't even. It's weird to comment on it now. It's weird. It's normal.
Yeah,
it's normal. What can we do?
We spoke about it also in the social the new age social media and dating, online dating, where it's become normal to date like that, to have relationships that last 2 months. Like, why is that normal? And I mean, why is that normal? Like, why is that normal? And it's a concern. That's what I'm saying. I'm not hopeful, because it's too much of a norm for us to just have this casual, be fine with 2 months, and that's if you do 6 months. Oh my gosh! I'm like, bro, I've been in a relationship for years.
You're basically married.
I'm an outlier.
Yeah, basically.
But yeah, man, I really do hope we get to that point. And to Umjita, that guy, Daniel Ek. I get his point, and I really do hope as content creators and also consumers. As consumers, we celebrate original content creators, and as content creators, we really find things that we can do well and that we enjoy, just so that we can produce better products. And I hope. I think that validation or that celebration you get when you do something that aligns with who you are exceeds far
it's magic.
Yeah, more than the trending on that weird verse that you made. But yeah, appreciate it, man, for coming through once again. Said you're a co-host at this point. Do something. I'll have a mad talk. I have an idea on putting you on the spot on camera.
Okay.
I have an idea for a medical conversation podcast. Just to break down complicated medical chats. I don't know if it needs to be a podcast or just a series of episodes.
Yeah.
But just to break, like, as we spoke about the disability thing, stroke and disability, we are in the physical disability side of things, and there's a lot of them. A lot of misconceptions, a lot of misunderstandings. And I think that we need to have conversations with the people. I saw this thing from this lady on LinkedIn. She posted, like, what drives her is wish I could use my phone. is just trying to bridge the gap between information and the world. She does copywriting, and she just wants to drive, like, listen or whatever the gap between information and the world. We have the information as health professionals. It's just not getting to the people. You know, we spoke about stroke and people using that vinegar thing. Everyone knows it in the country. I don't know where it comes from, but people know it. But does everyone know Ridac or any other medication and how to manage, hypertension and stuff? They don't. With so much access to information. So I think, I don't know. But that's something that I really want to do.
Let's do it, man.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
And we'll see how it comes about. But appreciate you coming through, man.
No doubt, man.
To everybody else, this is it. And I'll see you in the next episode.
Peace.
Yeah.